Buona notte, for it is the witching hour. Hi, I'm Christopher Stewart. I play Constantine in the movie Black Sunday by Mario Bava. My name would actually only be in the Italian credits. That happened a lot with films that we did in Italy, where the actual actor's name was only listed in the Italian credits. In credits around the world, it's some made-up name. And that was one of my greatest gimmicks. We all had gimmicks back then, and mine was stage names, makeup changes to my face, and accent changes. Barbara Steele's, open a window, cock an ear, you can still hear that scream. Mother! How dare you name me after you? Now the entire world believes I am 20 to 30 years older than I actually am. Thank you bloody much! I mean, you know, that's Barb. So I'm here to tell you right now, if anybody ever says to me that Barbara Steele is even one day over the age of 21, I will cast the greatest curse in all of hell and everything on you for it. Because I guarantee you, that woman is just as young today as she was back then. And if you don't believe me, give me 5 minutes and a makeup coach. Now, Barbara Steele was probably about 17 back then, maybe about 16, I kind of forget. She had never done a film before. She had done some modeling work. And though this wasn't my first production, it was my first major role in film. And it was the first time she and I got the chance to work together. We started production in the summer of '83. This was our first film in a long series of films that we did in '83. And Barbara Steele loves to tell a story about how the set caught fire. Now, if you listen to the way she puts it, it's, "Oh, woe is me, the set is on fire, I am going to die, my life is in danger, help me, save me." You know, it's absolutely hilarious. And what actually happened on that set was there was a small stick that was starting to burn the platform that she was standing on. Okay? And we had gone through everything. Mario Bava was standing next to me with a fire extinguisher hidden behind his back, which she couldn't even see. And she goes, "Guys, the set's on fire." And Mario looks over and goes, "Yes, I suppose it is." And he hands me a marshmallow. And I go, "Stick! Aha! Stick!" And I grab the stick that was starting to burn the platform, and I knock out the flame, put the marshmallow on it. And she goes, "Oh great, here I am burning to death and you are toasting a marshmallow." And I said, "Well, you are my sister after all." And about this time, little Nicoletta Elmy, who played the village girl in the film, comes walking by with a bag of marshmallows and sticks and walks to everybody and goes, "Stick, marshmallow, marshmallow, stick. Everybody has to have a marshmallow and a stick. We are today burning the witch known as Barb." And Barb looks down on her and goes, "Why are you so happy?" And she turns, looks at her and says, "I am happy because we are burning you. And once you are ashes in the wind, there is nothing at all standing between me and him." And she turns around, points at me, and then walks down the line and goes, "Everybody must have a marshmallow and a stick." At this point, Barb goes, "Oh, great. Fine, I'll just stay up here, okay? All right, fire or no fire, I'll just stand here. I will die up here." And she goes on this long tirade, and I walk up onto the platform while Mario Bava is using a fire extinguisher to remove all of the flames everywhere. And I extend my hand to her, and I say, "My lady," and she suddenly stops, stunned in her entire tirade, looks at me, and I pull her into embrace, and bring her, and the next thing she knows, she's standing on the ground. And that was the fun we had on the set back then. We did so many enjoyable things back then. And now, one of the things I want to talk about the most is Mario Bava was a fantastic gadgeteer. Absolutely fantastic. The robotic bat that you see, This is probably one of the funniest stories. He walked up to Nicoletta, Elmy, and I, and he presented each of us a box. And we're sitting here with a bunch of parts in a box. And we start putting things together, and the two of us start realizing that we have parts for each other's pieces. And we start putting this thing together. Okay? Now Barbara Steele walks down and goes, "What are you doing with that?" And Nicoletta says, "Building a bat." And I put the last zipper in place and go, "Just like that." And Mario Bava slaps in the last piece, and this rubberized bat just starts flapping on its own across the counter. I mean, it's just absolutely hilarious. And he then looks at me and says, "Now, Christopher, I just gave you a box of parts, and I just gave her a box of parts, and the two of you put together a bat. So in the future, tell me, why can't you do that?" So I looked at him and said, "Mario, you are an absolute genius, okay? Now, if I walk into Macy's in New York City, I'm not going to be able to go down to level 1 and pick up bat part 6 and then go up the elevator to the 5th floor and pick up bat parts 2 to 4. Now, by the time I got done, he was laughing so hard he couldn't even see. So, you know, that's some of it. He actually knew Harry Houdini, and he got together as often as he could with Harry, and he picked his brains for ideas on stagecraft, on illusion, on building things, magic tricks, the whole 9 yards. And from that, he created a fantastic machine. Now, this machine is famous throughout most of Italian horror films, and what it does is you put an actor inside it with an oxygen tank, and then the actor is buried alive with oxygen. And then the machine itself, using sound, magnetism, compressed air, and vibration, breaks the ground up and extracts the actor and makes it so realistic that it's unparalleled. It is still unparalleled to this day. No one has been able to come up with even a better idea. CGI couldn't do it. Stop motion couldn't do it. If you buried something and reversed the film, it wouldn't do it. It was the most realistic thing ever developed for a groundbreaking zombie or ripped apart tomb or anything like that. And we used that in so many films in Italy. In the production of Black Sunday, we used it in 2 forms. We used it both in the excavation of Uvoltage, and we used it in Barbara Steele's exploding casket thing. In that, it was what happens if we do this above ground with a solid object? And it just literally blew the coffin into pieces everywhere. It actually destroyed 1 camera, about 3 spotlights, and almost injured one of our technicians who was hiding behind a mattress at the time. But he came through unscathed. He was just like, whoa! He's scared out of his mind. And but the effect was absolutely unreal. And he started explaining this process to the actor who played Uvoltage. Now, you might say, well, give us his name. There's no point to that, because how I met him was, "I am Uvoltage. Please, don't call me anything else, because otherwise I might drop out of character." Okay. Now, my great friend and sensei, Lee Van Cleef, often said, always remember how somebody introduces themselves, and always use it again and again and again and again. And that created one of the greatest running gags of my entire life, with this wonderful woman who I met doing the film of, I believe it was The Patriot in the United States, of, "Hi, I'm Diane Stevenett, damn it, I'm Vic." So, you know, it's just something we do. Now, when I first met him and he said that to me, I looked at him and said, "Very well, Der Count." And he burst out laughing and then went straight into character. And every time he would drop out of character, I would go, "Der Count," and he'd go right back into character. And so we just called him Uvoltage, no matter what. So Yvoltich looked at us and said, "Oh my God." And he was sheet white, trembling. He couldn't even get words out. And he sat there saying, "This is every possible phobia I have ever had in my entire life in one. I can't do that." And I said, "Take a deep breath, relax. You don't have to." And he looked at me, and I said, "I am a supporting actor. Allow me to support you. Let me be your stunt double." And that started a wonderful friendship. And for the first few seconds in Black Sunday, where you see Yvoltich come out of the ground and maybe take 3 steps, that's me. But the entire rest of the film, it's him. Now this is something that I did a lot in film. One of my great friends in France, Gerard Depardieu, and I turned this over the top completely and made an illusion which is still baffling people to this day, because we literally played the same character in at least 2 films in France, where we both even said the same lines and everything, and we just added makeup to my face, make me look right, and the whole 9 yards. And this is kind of the way how I am in theater. This is how I am in productions. This is how I am with all of stage. And there was one time where I was on the set of Roger Corman's Fall of the House of Usher, and we were going through the whole process of starting the production. And my great friend, Mark Damon, Matt Damon's father, walks up to me and says, "Christopher, I have wanted to do this since Black Sunday." Now, he played the love interest of Princess Vida in Black Sunday. And he looked at me and said, "Let me support you. Take my name." And so I used his name for the production of The Fall of the House of Usher. And Mario Bava made me look slightly like him. I look slightly like him anyway, but anyone who knows the two of us would burst out laughing the moment they saw us standing together, because he's like a foot taller than me or something stupid like that, even to this day, you know. And but this is just some of the fun stuff that happened on the set back then. The coach on Black Sunday has a wonderful story to it. The coach in the movie was pulled by Mario Bava's horses, Night, Heart, Storm, and Midnight. Sometimes I get them all a little bit mixed up. I rode a lot of those horses, and a few of them had a tendency to say, "You're my rider," and they would prance out before I could even walk to the stables, and so that was the horse I was riding, like Heart. Heart was amazing for that. And but the coach itself was actually the star of a silent film, which I don't think was ever finished, and it was made by Dario Argento's father, and it was called The Black Coach. And the whole premise behind this short silent was that since Dracula is this evil demon thing, obviously his coach must be as well. And it was a whole story about the coach of Dracula and dead bodies and vampires and that kind of thing. But it was done in such a light that you couldn't really tell. And it would be wonderful if at some point in time someone could restore that, because it's a fantastic little piece, even if it's just that little piece. The coach was used in many films by all of Italy. It was Mario's coach, but Mario had a tendency to lend it out to other directors and all sorts of stuff. The absolute star of Black Sunday and of most of Bava's productions isn't actually a person. It's actually the set itself. The wonderful thing about working on productions over in Italy is that so many of them were filmed in the Castle of Flame. The Castle of Flame is a great historical monument in Italy, and it was invented back in the First Crusade by a German and an Italian Templar. that wanted to create peace between France and England, or France and, Germany and Italy. And they started building this keep. And this keep started with just a handful of Germans, a handful of Italians, and then it built into an actual Templar group. And then the Templar group grew because it drew in Templars from Germany, from Italy, and it became a large keep. It became the staging ground of the Crusades, and then it became a castle, and then it became a historical monument, then it became a part of our film, and if it ever becomes something else, please let us know. We really want to know. But you know, that's the wonderful thing about it. And we would film this castle from all different angles. We would use different sections of the castle, film in like the East Wing in one production, the West Wing in another. We'd do different lighting effects. We'd film in black and white, film in color. Mario Bava loved filming in black and white. He loved it more than color. He thought that black and white was a true art and color was just kind of meh. And he loved working with black and white. We would at times do things like cover the set in cobwebs and then do another film where everything's highly lit, and you're looking at the exact same stage, but it's just slightly different, slightly enough so you can't quite tell. And we just had so much fun around that castle. And the set designs, my God, you really have to just take your hat off to Daria Nicolodi, who got her degree in interior design before she even did anything in theater, and Lamberto Bava and some of the other set constructors, because they literally just did wonders with set construction. And that was the way the whole film kind of went. Speaking about this kind of thing, when it was near the end of shooting, and we were sitting in this Italian castle, Barbara Steele and I, sitting on a Victorian feather bed, my God. And we were talking about everything, and we were saying, you know, we don't even care. We really don't. This film doesn't have to take off. It can just be something he did. It doesn't even have to be seen in a theater. Just so long as that old man is happy. Just so long as he finally gets the chance to play with his cameras, to play with his makeup, to do what he loves, to build the film that everyone said he could not do. And that's all that matters to us. Making his dreams work. That was all that ever mattered. And when it came down to the last day of shooting, Mario had done the last shot. And I remember looking at him, and he was crying on his camera. And I walked over to him, and I pulled him onto the set, and the entire cast ringed him. And he said, I have spent my entire life angry, depressed, upset, bitter, depressed, because they wouldn't let me do this production. And I now see it with crystal clarity. It's like God came to us on this set and showed me everything in pure crystal. And he said, of course you couldn't have done this. You didn't have your cast. And it's absolutely right, because you are all my cast, every single one of you. I could not have done this production without a single person here. And that was Mario Bava. You know, the language of the movie, in most cases people see it in English. I think there's an Italian release. It's hard to say because there were so many languages on the set that, and of course there's so much noise on the set, that there was only so many voice tracks that we did. Now, Mario loved to do this. He did this often in productions where he would bring people from all over the world. And you had an actor speaking French to an actor speaking Russian to an actor speaking Italian, and nobody knew anything, but Mario was standing around translating. He loved to show off his use of languages and sit there and rattle off in French. It was his real gift in that sense. And he brought us all together with that. And quite often, you know, he'd look at somebody and say, don't worry about the English, say it in Russian. We'll dub it in English. And that's how we did things. So all we would do is just make sure we had times right, cues right, and that kind of thing. We would just go through the entire process. Now, in the film, I'm actually doing my voice in the English version as well as the Italian version, which is unique. I didn't quite get the opportunity to do that often. In a lot of cases, like the movie Inferno, you're listening to only me in Italian and somebody else in English. Kind of silly, I think. I mean, English is my primary language, but I'll get into that in another video. You know, and we just had a wonderful time there. I really miss a lot of the actors and actresses I got a chance to work with. I miss the people I worked with on the sets. I got a chance to find a few of them on Facebook just to say hi, and it was just a wonderful time for me. Just to even walk up to Bava Hammer and say hi and have him go click, click, click. You know, I mean, it's just fantastic. I love social media for that because it's starting to bring friends that have been separated for years and continents and oceans back together. But that was our production. Now, Black Sunday hit the theaters in Rome in around about the summer of '83. And we were called back into Rome, and we weren't entirely sure why. And then it turned out we were called back to attend the award show, the Oscars of Rome. And we were like, oh my God, really? And then here we are. And Black Sunday was awarded the Silver Venus, which Barbara Steele received, for Best Actress in a Film. I received the Italian Golden Mars for Best Supporting Actor in the Film. Mario Bava received the Golden Pencil and the Golden Camera Award for Best Screenplay and Best Film, Best Director. I still remember to this day, Mario walked up onto the stage and the member of the Academy was holding the award for the Golden Camera, and he was crying. And he presented it to Mario and he said, there is no award in Italy for cinematography, for, you know, all the things America does, the sound, the lighting, the this, that, and the other thing, because it's all assumed that that's part of being a director. But I have to say this. If we could give you an award for using the castle, we would. And, you know, it just blew us away. It absolutely blew us away. It was my first award. It was Barb's first award. I'm not sure about Mario. I think it was the first time he really got honored. And it started a wonderful friendship with lots of people. And it started an amazing trend that took us 3 or 4 years to shoot. We did so many films together. I mean, I've done over 300 films, but we must have done about 150, 200 films in Italy. And I never cared whether I was learning to run a camera or whether I was working on makeup on somebody, or whether I was the star of the film, or whether I was just being some minor part in the production. I mean, I am a supporting actor. That's what I do. But thank you for taking the time to listen to this small documentary on Black Sunday. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a few fun things about the film. And have a great night.